What's up guys, thanks so much for stopping by the channel today. My name's Timothy and on this channel I focus on tech, tools, and tutorials to help you create the best content for your YouTube channels and productions. So if you're new here, consider subscribing. In this video we're going to be checking out the Panasonic GH5. That's what I'm filming on right now. I'm going to do a full review of the camera, and in the coming weeks I'm going to start a series here on the channel just covering all the different settings and awesome things that you can do with this incredible piece of filmmaking gear. But today I just want to show you some of the things that it can do. I know there's been a lot of discussion on different YouTube channels about autofocus and just all the different things that this camera is doing great and not doing so great, but I just want to show you the things that I love about it, just some different ways that it works really well. So I've been using the GH5 for about 2 weeks now since it came out. I pre-ordered the camera and it came to me just 2 weeks ago, so I've had enough time to check out some of the settings. Right now I'm filming in Cine 4K at 24 frames per second just because I like the look of that. I've tried out the 60 frames per second at 4K and it works great, but that's just not exactly the look that I'm going for. So first of all, I'm just going to show you some B-roll. Let's look around this area. I'm here in downtown Knoxville, Tennessee, and just want to show you around. So let's check out some of the footage that I've shot so far. So let's talk specs on the GH5 from Panasonic. A couple of the main highlights is that it has a 20.3 megapixel digital live MOS sensor, and that's really good because your still images are going to come out very crisp. Obviously not to the caliber of something like a Canon or something that's built just for photos, but really we're looking at this just for video in my opinion. So I like to have a little bit of hybrid of both, but the video features are tremendous, like 4K video with no crop. So we're not getting a crop whenever we hit record on 4K, which is really nice. We're getting the full sensor across. That's super awesome. The only time we get a crop is when we turn on more image stabilization or image stabilization that's built into the lens. That does crop in a little bit, obviously, but yeah, that's great. Something for people that are doing a lot of color grading, we have internal 422 10-bit 4K at 24 frames or 30 frames per second. So that's really huge because you're just collecting all this extra color data that you can use to color grade your footage. I've been shooting today in a variety of different modes, mostly though anything that's not in slow-mo. I've been recording in Cine 4K at 24 frames per second. Otherwise, I've been using UHD 1080, but I've used it at the variable frame rates, so you can actually slow it down to 180 frames per second, which is absolutely crazy to get that kind of slow motion. I'll be showing a little bit of that, but generally, for a lot of the things that I'm shooting, I'm basically using around 120 or so just to make it more usable in a cinematic look, because 180 is super slow. Some of the other things I've talked about briefly, the 5-axis dual image stabilization built inside of the body allows me to get all kinds of crazy great shots that are super smooth without any kind of stabilization in post. You can get really nice slider shots and things that you would normally have to have a lot of equipment with you to get, usually having to shoot with a monopod, but in this case you're able to get those just straight off the camera with that in-body stabilization. The autofocus system has been a huge topic of conversation online, especially among YouTube content creators. See, Panasonic uses a depth to defocus system that works primarily the best when you're using Panasonic lenses. Right now I'm shooting on the 12 to 35 2.8 from Panasonic, and it's a fantastic lens, and I really think that it gives just great image quality, especially for video. There's been tons of experiments with autofocus. I'll just tell you right now, I'm using single point autofocus, so there's basically this box around me in the frame, and as long as I'm staying inside this box, it stays focused on me, which is really great. I think it's even great for vlogging. Even if I was to go up and pick up the camera and move it around, as long as I keep my head inside of this box and I'm looking over here at the screen to make sure everything stays in focus. Now, I don't use face tracking. A lot of people are using face tracking to try to keep everything nice as you're moving around and stuff, but really, that's my wife over there, hey. But you'll notice she's out of focus right now because I'm actually in the box. But if I just move and say introduce her to you, then I can point the box at her and she suddenly becomes in focus. I'm out of focus, bring myself back, put me around the box, and I'm back in focus again. And so there's a lot of things going on the internet about the autofocus systems not working. I definitely credit those guys for the amount of work that they have done on their videos. But for me, it's working just fine. Now, the autofocus sensitivity, I think I have set to +3, but I sometimes even turn it up to +5 depending on what I'm doing. This is great for vlogging if you have this kind of setup, because obviously, you know, when vlogging, you're talking to the camera, it's you right there, and then all of a sudden you're looking out and you're trying to show something like this area out here. And when I'm showing it, it's going to autofocus out there, then I'm going to turn around and I'm going to start talking to you again, and it's going to come back to my face. Now, the speed at which that happens can be controlled in the autofocus menu, but yeah, I think it works really well. Obviously, I use my 7-14 in some of the shots today. That's obviously a better lens for this, for vlogging, because it's sitting, you know, it provides a much wider angle. So some of the lenses that I've used today, like when I was shooting at the coffee shop, I was using this quite a bit for a lot of the B-roll shots. This is a Sigma 18-35, and I have the Metabones Speed Booster Ultra on it. Metabones just released a firmware upgrade last night for this, and so you can go on, if you have one of these, you can go online and check out the firmware upgrade. There's a little USB port here on it, so you just plug it in, download the firmware upgrade, and it works with the GH5 now. So that's fantastic. This is an incredible piece of lens, and this paired with a speed booster is just phenomenal. I'm also using, like I said, the 12-35, and I brought out the 7-14 for Panasonic. It's on my G85 right now, but I've been using it today as well as we've been shooting. So those are the 3 lenses that I've been using. I also have the 12-60 mil Panasonic Lumix lens. It came with the kit for the G85. It's been working really well. And this little guy right here, the Perfect Portrait lens, this is a 42.5 millimeter, which is essentially basically an 85 mil. And it makes incredibly sharp images due to its aperture of 1.7, I believe it's 1.7, let me make sure. Yeah, 1.7 aperture. Crazy beautiful stuff. I haven't shot with it yet today, but I've used it already on the GH5. And I'm going to look at all of these different lenses very soon on the channel, just kind of looking at dedicated videos to each one and what they look like on the GH5. So if you want to see more of those, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you'd like to learn about some of these lenses. So that's going to be the rundown on the GH5 for right now. This is just initial impressions of it, and I wanted to just get some footage out there on YouTube of the GH5 in its element, just making really cinematic stuff. I did want to let you know that I'm using the standard modified photo profile as I've been taking video. I use -2, -2, and -5 on the first 3 settings there. That's going to be -2 on the contrast, -2 on the sharpness, and -5 on noise reduction. And so those are my settings right off the top there, I think, if I'm remembering and I'm recalling this off the top of my head. So but that's what I'm using right now, so that I kind of get just a little bit of a neutral color profile so that I can grade things in post. So I hope you've enjoyed it today. I hope that it's been helpful. Again, I think this is a fantastic camera. It's going to be my daily driver for sure. The GH5, tremendous camera for filmmakers. I think also for YouTubers as you are vlogging and whatnot. It's super great. So links in the description below if you want to pick one up for yourself, and drop me a comment if you want to learn more about these lenses. So guys, that's going to do it for me. I hope that you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll see you in the next video.